Nestled within the Spanish crown's treasury rests a tiara whose weight far surpasses that of mere platinum and diamonds. It is more than a symbol of absolute power. It's an unwritten law, delineating the reigning queen from every other woman in the dynasty. Its official narrative reads like an elegant chronicle of succession. But what if, behind the dazzling sparkle of nearly 600 diamonds, lies a drama steeped in jealousy, ruthless ambition, and a chilling rule imposed by a queen who forbade even her own daughters from touching this sacred emblem? Why did the right to wear this tiara spark a quiet yet fierce struggle behind closed doors? Today, let's peel back the layers of polite smiles to uncover the true cost of donning Spain's foremost jewel. The dawn of the 20th century. Europe basked in the radiant haze of the Belle Époque, an era of opulence, progress, and a palpable premonition of profound change. The Spanish monarchy, eager to reclaim its former grandeur, placed its hopes on a dynastic alliance. Young King Alfonso XIII was poised to marry a British princess, a granddaughter of Queen Victoria herself, Victoria Eugenie of Battenberg, or simply Ina, as she was affectionately known within her family. This union was destined to symbolize renewal and stability, which meant wedding gifts couldn't merely be costly, they had to speak the eloquent language of power. For his future queen, Alfonso envisioned something truly exceptional. It was to be more than just a wedding gift. It would be a coronation manifesto, manifest in jewels. He desired a tiara that, worn by his bride on their wedding day, would silently declare to the entire world, "Henceforth, this woman is the Spanish queen, the bearer of the great Bourbon dynasty's legacy." The commission was simultaneously romantic and profoundly political. Only a select few could undertake such a monumental task. The esteemed jewelry house Ansorena, official purveyors to the Spanish royal court, was chosen. For the Madrid artisans, this was the assignment of a lifetime. They were tasked not merely with crafting a beautiful object, but with casting the very essence of the monarchy, its history and its future, in platinum and diamonds. The weight of responsibility was immense, for their creation was destined to become a treasured family heirloom for centuries to come. The king's concept was brilliant in its symbolic simplicity. The central motif of the adornment was to be the heraldic lily, the fleur-de-lis, an ancient emblem of French kings that had become the primary symbol of the House of Bourbon after their ascension to the Spanish throne. Thus, the tiara transcended mere accessory status to become a wearable family crest, a visible testament to belonging to the ruling lineage. The Ansorena jewelers truly outdid themselves. They opted for platinum, the most fashionable, durable, and precious metal of that era, which allowed for the creation of light and ethereal structures impossible with gold. Into this platinum setting, 3 monumental heraldic lilies were meticulously placed, interconnected by elegant scrolls and waves, all encrusted with old-cut diamonds. In total, more than 500 stones, chosen with incredible precision, were utilized. The tiara's design was truly unique. It could be worn as a classic open diadem or fastened into a complete circlet crown, rendering it a versatile emblem of royal status. For a moment, let's set history aside and view this treasure through the eyes of a jeweler. The heraldic tiara isn't merely an adornment, it is in fact an architectural marvel in miniature. Its design is meticulously structured around 3 monumental heraldic lilies, which rise above the wearer's head like 3 triumphant arches. They are not simply scattered across the framework. Rather, they serve as its foundational semantic and visual pillars. Between these, delicate scrolls intertwine, evoking either ocean waves or the tendrils of exotic flora, thereby crafting a sense of continuous, vibrant motion. Ansorena jewelers chose platinum as their foundation, a revolutionary decision for its time. Unlike gold, platinum offered incredible strength in a smaller volume, enabling the creation of an intricate, open-work framework that seemed almost weightless. This precious skeleton wasn't merely a setting, it was a stage. Its cool, silvery white luster didn't compete with the diamonds. Instead, it became their perfect backdrop, making the stones sparkle even more brilliantly, as if floating in mid-air. But the true soul of the tiara lies in its diamonds. Nearly 600 stones, all antique European cut, meticulously matched one to another. Today, we're accustomed to the dazzling, almost laser-like flash of modern diamond cuts. But back then, stones were cut differently. Their purpose wasn't to blind, but to mesmerize, gathering and softly dispersing the light of candles. It was a living, warm shimmer that played with every turn of the head, creating a dynamic halo of light around the queen. The total weight of these stones was equivalent to a fortune that could purchase an entire mansion in central Madrid. Every element here isn't just an adornment, it's a statement. The three lilies, the fleur-de-lis, are a direct homage to the French roots of the Bourbon dynasty, their heraldic seal, a symbol of the divine right to rule. To wear them on one's head was to declare legitimacy without uttering a single word. This was not merely a tiara, but a portable crown, a heraldic passport understood by every aristocrat in Europe. However, the most astonishing secret is hidden within its construction. The Ansorena master craftsman created not a static object, but a transformer. Through an intricate and imperceptible mechanism, the tiara could be closed into a complete circlet, transforming it into a full crown. Imagine that quiet, confident click as the base locks together, changing not just the shape, but the very status of the jewel. From a diadem for a state dinner, it became a crown for the most solemn ceremonial occasion. This was the pinnacle of early 20th century jewelry engineering. Imagine what it feels like to hold it in your hands, to sense its unexpected weight, the cool touch of noble platinum slowly warming against your skin. To run your fingers along the sharp facets of the stones, to hear the barely audible musical chime as its movable elements touch one another. This is the weight not just of metal and stones, it is the weight of history, power, and responsibility cast into a flawless, eternal form. May 31st, 1906. Madrid held its breath. Thousands of people gathered in the flag and garland-adorned streets to witness the wedding of their king, Alfonso XIII, and British Princess Victoria Eugenie. This was more than just a love match. It was an event of national significance, promising Spain a new era. And at the heart of this whirlwind of hopes and expectations was the bride, poised to become queen. When Ina appeared before the public, the crowd gasped. She wore a lavish lace gown, its train carried by pages, but all eyes were drawn upwards to her head. There, in the rays of the Madrid sun, the heraldic tiara revealed itself to the world for the very first time. This was not merely an accessory crowning a wedding veil. This was an act of coronation. The moment platinum and diamonds touched the princess's hair, she ceased to be just Ina of Battenberg. She became the Queen of Spain. The tiara shone so brightly that it seemed otherworldly, as if woven from pure light. The heraldic lilies, encrusted with diamonds, rose proudly, proclaiming the rights of the new dynasty. For the Spanish aristocracy gathered in the church, this was a resounding signal. The king had not merely married, he was asserting his authority and bestowing upon his wife a symbol equal in significance to the crown itself. The adornment became the final flourish of her ensemble, transforming the bride into a monarch. The reaction was instantaneous and universal. European newspapers the next day were awash with descriptions of the fairy tale tiara. Jewelers debated the daring and technical perfection of Ansorena's work, while diplomats read between the lines of the diamond's sparkle. This gift was a declaration. Spain was wealthy, strong, and confident in its future. Envy and admiration walked hand in hand. The tiara instantly became the most talked-about piece of jewelry of its time. But the triumph of that day was marred by tragedy. During the wedding procession, as the newlyweds' carriage passed down Calle Mayor, an anarchist hurled a bomb at them. Dozens perished, the royal carriage was damaged, and the queen's pristine white dress was spattered with blood. The monarchs themselves miraculously escaped harm. And in that chaos and horror, the heraldic tiara, untouched by the blast, continued to shine on the head of the stunned yet unbroken queen. Thus, on its very first day, the tiara transformed from a mere treasure into a legend. Its debut was a baptism by fire. It became a silent witness not only to a royal wedding, but also to a brutal assassination attempt. From that fateful moment, its brilliance forever mingled with the taste of danger and miraculous survival, turning it into a talisman of the Spanish throne's endurance and indestructibility. After its bloody baptism on her wedding day, the heraldic tiara became for Queen Ina not just a beloved ornament, but an extension of herself. She and the fleur-de-lis tiara became synonymous. For decades, this very circlet adorned the Queen's head in all official portraits, state banquets, and meetings with other monarchs. She wore it with innate grandeur, often complementing the look with famous strands of pearls or massive diamond earrings. The tiara became her working crown, an instrument of power that spoke louder than any decree. It was in Ina's hands that the unspoken but ironclad rule was born, turning the tiara into an object of contention. She jealously guarded its exclusive status. No one, apart from the reigning queen, had the right to wear it. Even her own daughters, the Infantas Beatriz and Maria Cristina, were never granted the honor of trying on their mother's circlet. This wasn't a mere maternal whim. It was a lesson in hierarchy, a cold and clear declaration. There is only one queen, and her symbol of power is sacrosanct. This golden age was abruptly cut short in 1931, when Spain was proclaimed a republic and the royal family was forced into exile. Many aristocrats in such a situation sold off their treasures to ensure their livelihood. But not Ina. For her, the fleur-de-lis tiara was not merely an asset, but the last tangible fragment of her kingdom. Living in Switzerland, far from the Madrid palace, she guarded the tiara as a sacred relic. It was a silent witness to her former grandeur and a pledge for the future restoration of the monarchy. During the years of exile, the tiara also became Ina's personal talisman, a keeper of memories. Every diamond reminded her of the splendor of balls, the weight of state decisions, the face of the husband who gave her this symbol of their shared destiny. She wore it only on the most exceptional occasions, such as the weddings of European monarchs, and each such appearance created a sensation. A queen without a throne, she still wore her principal crown, demonstrating to the world that the status of a monarch is not a position, but an essence that cannot be taken away. The tiara became her calling card. When people thought of Queen Victoria Eugenie, they envisioned precisely this image: a proud posture, a piercing gaze, and the icy brilliance of the heraldic lilies in her hair. She didn't just own this piece of jewelry, she merged with it. Through her will and her zealous devotion, the tiara was elevated to the rank of a sacred artifact, the right to wear which had to be earned not by birth, but exclusively by the status of a reigning queen consort. And it was this legacy, not just platinum and diamonds, but also a code of unwritten rules, that she would ultimately pass on to her descendants. The fleur-de-lis tiara ceased to be a mere ornament. It became an examination for the right to be queen, one her daughter-in-law would have to pass. Behind the dazzling brilliance of the heraldic tiara lies a story not of a bloody crime, but of a cold, quiet drama that unfolded far from the public eye. The greatest scandal of this treasure isn't theft or forgery, but the tale of a woman who had every right to the tiara, yet could never wear it. This is the story of an unfulfilled dream and the iron will of an exiled queen. At the heart of this unfolding drama was Queen Ina's daughter-in-law, Maria de las Mercedes of Bourbon II Sicilies, wife of her son and heir apparent, Don Juan, Count of Barcelona. By all rights of succession, Don Juan was destined to become king following the collapse of Franco's dictatorship, and his wife Maria, consequently, the Queen of Spain. She was the mother of the future monarch, Juan Carlos, and for decades lived with the weight of being a queen in waiting. And naturally, she dreamed of the day she would finally place upon her head the ultimate symbol of that status, the fleur-de-lis tiara. Legend has it that this was her most cherished desire. Yet, this yearning was fated never to be fulfilled. Her formidable mother-in-law, Queen Ina, remained unyielding. She was the custodian not only of the jewel itself, but also of a rule she had personally forged. The tiara was to be worn exclusively by a reigning queen. And since the monarchy in Spain was never reinstated during Don Juan's lifetime, his wife Maria never officially attained the status of queen consort. Here, facts and whispers intertwine. It is historically documented that Maria de las Mercedes never once wore this tiara. This is an undeniable fact. As for why, that falls into the realm of conjecture and courtly murmurs. Tales circulated of the chilly relations between the formidable mother-in-law and her daughter-in-law. Perhaps Ina, herself dispossessed of her throne, jealously guarded the sole remaining symbol of her supreme authority. To relinquish the tiara to Maria would have meant acknowledging her own past as irrevocably gone. A beautiful, though unsubstantiated myth claims that more than one difficult conversation transpired between the women on this very matter. But the outcome was always a polite, yet icy, refusal. In her will, Queen Ina meticulously outlined the fate of her jewels, establishing the Joyas de Passar collection, treasures that could not be sold and were to be passed down from monarch to monarch. The fleur-de-lis tiara was the crown jewel of this collection, designated exclusively for the wives of Spain's reigning kings, not for the wives of heirs apparent, but for the queens themselves. Thus, the tiara acquired its shadow, the shadow of one woman's unfulfilled hope and another's unyielding will. It became a symbol not merely of power attained, but of power denied. This unseen drama infused the cold brilliance of its diamonds with a note of human tragedy, rendering the anticipation of its next public appearance all the more intriguing. In 1969, Queen Victoria Eugenia passed away at her Swiss residence. Her passing drew the curtain on an entire era. For over 60 years, she had been the sole guardian and very soul of the heraldic tiara. With her death, the treasure became an orphan. More than just a chapter closed in its history, an entire book, penned by one woman, reached its final page. The tiara, once a symbol of her triumphs, her exile, and her indomitable will, now lay silently in its velvet case, awaiting its new destiny. This destiny had been preordained, meticulously defined with legal precision that left no loopholes. Queen Ina's will became her final royal decree, a legal masterpiece of cold, unwavering resolve. She officially established the Joyas de Passar Foundation, bestowing the fleur-de-lis tiara not personally upon her son, Don Juan, but directly into the ownership of the Spanish crown. The document explicitly stipulated that only the consort of the reigning King of Spain was entitled to wear it. With this stroke of the pen, she not only enshrined the rule she had established, but also definitively stripped her daughter-in-law, Maria de las Mercedes, of any lingering hope. The tiara entered a state of suspended animation. A long period of oblivion then commenced. While dictator Franco reigned in Spain and the monarchy's future remained shrouded in uncertainty, the legendary treasure simply vanished from the public eye. It did not sparkle at auctions, nor was it displayed in museums. The tiara resided in a silent purgatory of steel and concrete, within a bank vault, patiently awaiting history's next move. As the years rolled on, the premier symbol of the Spanish crown remained unseen, slowly transforming from a tangible object into a half-forgotten legend. The atmosphere of that moment was charged not with the fervor of an auction, but with the tense anticipation of political maneuvering. The tiara's destiny was inextricably linked to the fate of the entire nation. Who would claim it? Would it be the wife of Don Juan, the rightful heir? Or the young Greek princess Sofía, wife of his son, Juan Carlos, whom Franco was grooming as his successor? The tiara became a silent wager in the grand game for the Spanish throne. The close of Queen Ina's era signaled not merely the transfer of a treasure, but the start of a long pause during which history itself would decide whose head it would next adorn. November 22nd, 1975. Spain, holding its breath, entered a new era. Juan Carlos I was proclaimed king, and somewhere in the quiet depths of a Madrid bank, the mechanism of a steel vault emitted a long-awaited click. After nearly half a century of oblivion, the heraldic tiara was poised for its dramatic return to the public stage. The question that had tormented the aristocracy for decades finally had its answer. Contrary to the hopes of the Countess of Barcelona, history had charted a different course. Queen Ina's iron will, sealed within her last testament, was executed down to the last letter. Her son, Don Juan, ceded his rights to the throne to his son, Juan Carlos, and thus María de las Mercedes never became a reigning queen. The treasure passed to the woman with whom history had ultimately converged, the young Queen Sofía, consort of the new monarch. For her, it was not merely a jewel, but a weighty mantle of legitimacy that she was destined to carry on behalf of the entire revitalized monarchy. And so, at one of the first state receptions, the world saw it once more. Upon Queen Sofía's head, the fleur-de-lis tiara shone with a new, almost austere solemnity. It was a triumph, but a triumph of a different order. Not the dazzling flash of the Belle Époque, but the calm and steady light of stability. Queen Sofía, known for her reserve, did not make the tiara her signature piece. She wore it infrequently, reserving it exclusively for the most significant occasions: visits from foreign monarchs, official gala dinners. It was her ceremonial uniform, the mark of her exalted status. The interpretation of the jewel had fundamentally shifted. If, for Queen Ina, the tiara was a passion, a part of her personal history and pride, for Queen Sofía, it became an instrument of duty. She didn't so much wear the tiara as she represented it. Through it, Sofía conveyed to the world the idea of continuity, legitimacy, and the immutability of the Spanish throne within a new, democratic reality. The shimmer of diamonds now symbolized not luxury, but responsibility. It was precisely at this moment that the tiara's value reached its absolute zenith. It ceased to be merely a piece of jewelry, however fabulously expensive. It became an artifact of national significance. Having survived an assassination attempt, a revolution, exile, and a dictatorship, it returned to become a symbol of a nation's rebirth. Its worth was now measured not in carats, but in the chapters of history textbooks written during its absence. Queen Sofía became a bridge between eras. She accepted the baton from the legendary exiled queen and carried it with dignity through decades of her reign to one day pass it on. The tiara's second birth had occurred, but its story was far from over. Ahead lay a new mistress, a woman from the people who was destined to give the treasure an entirely fresh resonance. In 2014, history turned another page. King Juan Carlos abdicated in favor of his son, and King Felipe VI ascended the Spanish throne. And at that very moment, the fleur-de-lis tiara, following the relentless logic of Queen Ina's will, passed to its new custodian, Queen Letizia. Today, she, the former journalist who became queen, is the only woman in the world with the right to wear this legendary crown. Today, the heraldic tiara isn't gathering dust behind the bulletproof glass of a museum. It hasn't become a static exhibit. It is a living, active, and most paramount part of the Joyas de Pasar collection, the inalienable treasures of the Spanish crown, which are stored in the royal palace in Madrid and used for their intended purpose. Its home is the treasury of the reigning dynasty, and its stage is contemporary global politics. But its current status has changed forever. It is no longer a mere accessory for a formal evening, but a living historical artifact. Its weight felt not only physically. Every appearance on Queen Letizia's head is not a fashion event, but a historical declaration, a visible bridge connecting the monarchy of the 21st century with its grand past. It has become more than an adornment. It has become an integral part of state ceremonial. Attempting to appraise its monetary value is an almost futile, even somewhat insulting endeavor. Of course, there's a basic cost: purest platinum and nearly 600 old-cut diamonds, which alone are worth a fortune, plus the prestige of the Ansorena jewelry house. But this is merely the tip of the iceberg. Its true price is woven from its provenance, its unique history of ownership. A wedding gift that survived an assassination attempt, a symbol of a queen in exile, a token of a monarchy reborn, a jewel that sparked a quiet family drama. Each of these points multiplies its catalogue value by infinity. It is a national treasure, and attempting to put a price on it is akin to trying to tag a country's flag or anthem. It is priceless because it is the history of Spain cast in platinum. So, let's return to the question we began with. Why was there a quiet but fierce struggle for the right to wear this tiara? The answer is both simple and complex. Because its first owner, Queen Victoria Eugenia, through her sheer will, transformed it from a mere piece of jewelry into the ultimate prize, a crown within the crown. She deliberately forged an aura of absolute exclusivity around it, making it not just a symbol of status, but its sole and undeniable proof. The battle wasn't for diamonds. It was for the right to enter history as the one, the only one, worthy of wearing it. The heraldic tiara is the physical embodiment of human passions and ambitions. It was born as a gesture of royal love and political calculation. On its very first day, it was baptized by blood and a miraculous escape, forever absorbing the drama of survival. In the hands of its first owner, it became a symbol of unyielding will and pride in exile, and then the cause of a quiet tragedy of her daughter-in-law's unfulfilled hopes. It has witnessed the glitter of ballrooms and the dust of exile's roads. It has heard the whispers of court intrigue and the dry lines of a will that altered destinies. It has stood as a silent witness to the fall and resurgence of an entire monarchy. Each of its diamonds is a frozen tear, a flash of joy, or the cold glint of a decision made. This is not merely platinum and stones. It is a concentrate of history that one can wear on their head. When Queen Letizia appears in this tiara today, she bears not only its physical weight, she carries the weight of all the women who owned it before her, and even of the one who was never destined to try it on. She dons Alfonso's love, Ina's will, Sofia's duty. Her modern elegance adds a new chapter to this centuries-old story, proving that true masterpieces do not age, but only grow richer with new meanings. Monarchs come and go, eras succeed one another, but the light of the heraldic lilies continues to shine. This tiara is no longer a mere object belonging to people. It is a silent chronicler that chooses whose story to tell next. It has outlived its creators and will outlive its current custodians, remaining an eternal and dispassionate witness to how fleeting human lives attempt to touch immortality.